All right. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is a primer for essentially a follow-up of something that we actually discussed before. हमने पहले सबको याद होगा कि डिस्कस किया था as to what I look for in a checklist, a valuation checklist, and how do I actually conduct my valuation on a basic level, on a very fundamental level. So we'll just go ahead and actually look at essentially how do I go about screening for based on those fundamentals, and maybe we'll look at one or two technical aspects as well. So I'll start sharing my screen. So as I said before, what I was looking at was, do we understand the company to a large extent? And this is something that obviously that cannot come out of a screener. मुझे पहले ये देखना पड़ेगा कि screener में से companies कौन सी निकल रही हैं, फिर उनको shortlist करना पड़ेगा. Is it able to grow is the company able to grow its free cash flow? उसके लिए it has to be a positive free cash flow generating company, and it needs to be growing that free cash flow. Is the return on invested capital expanding? Meaning, is it able to grow its margins? Is it able to increase sales volume? And does it trade at a reasonable earnings multiple compared to its peers or history? So let's have a look at something that I really like, and something that I actually like to look at, which is finviz.com. Finviz.com is a very nice website that I usually use for typically looking at screeners. I like their screener, and I really like the way they've set the whole website up. Do check it out. This is obviously not in promotion. We are not paid, or this Finviz hasn't sponsored this video, but I really like this website. So let's look at a couple of things. So number one, आप Finviz पे जाएंगे, you go to screeners, and this is what will show up. Now there are a lot of things here, as you can see at the top: descriptive, fundamental, technical, all. So let's go to fundamental. So the first things first, I will look at the return on investment, which is something that I mentioned, more than 25%. Next मैं देखूंगा कि earnings growth पिछली 5 साल की positive है कि नहीं है, right? Because the companies that are actually producing, generating higher, growing their net income, growing their earnings at a good healthy percentage, तो अपना cash flow भी grow कर रही होंगी, right? So let's look at EPS growth for the past 5 years, higher than 25%. ठीक है ना? What else? So at least I'm looking at these two, right? And then what I'm looking for in the technical side, usually मैं ये देख लेता हूँ. So let's see. जैसे आपने ये दो select किए, तो आपके पास ये companies आ गई, right? And this is actually roughly मतलब अच्छी खासी companies, and we're talking about, I think 10 sheets हैं, so 200 companies आ चुकी हैं. Roughly 200 companies are here that are producing high returns on investment, and then higher EPS growth. But we want to obviously, you can look at these as well. आप उनको different तरीके से sort कर सकते हैं. मैं usually P's के साथ sort करता हूँ, because this is one of my other variables that I look at. As I said, does it trade at a reasonable earnings multiple compared to peers? तो एक आसान तरीका ये है कि जो सबसे cheap, मतलब नीचे की तरफ जो trade कर रहा होगा, that is obviously where I would like to start off my screening. And obviously then you go on and on. But अभी इस वक्त obviously we have 200 companies. We need to drill it down further. Technically मैं देखता हूँ usually कि 52 week low किसने touch किया है. So you go into technicals, ये fundamentals थे, technicals पे जाते हैं, and then you see 52 week low. बहुत सारे यहाँ पे all indicators हैं. We can go into more indicators as time moves on. We can see different, but ये सबसे आसान, straightforward, easy तरीका है to identify a winning idea. 52 week low, you go and you select new low. That means in the past 52 weeks, meaning in the past 1 year of trading, this is the new low for that 1 year period, right? And that's typically a technical indicator to see stocks that could bounce back from there on. 52 week low. अच्छा, अब हमारे पास again ये क्या companies आ गई हैं? यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं, एक ही sheet है, good. We have 11 companies, perfect. So very much more reasonable list now. We have sorted this by price to earnings ratio. Let's start looking at the companies. This is a company in West Fraser Timber. This is a lumber and wood production. And there's Stratus Properties, real estate, recreational vehicles. Malibu boats है, ये basically luxury vehicles produce करती हैं, जो luxury boats produce करती हैं. Lovesac company है, कोई fixtures and appliances है, कोई bank है, definitely not Sharia compliant. Ironwood Pharmaceuticals है, drug manufacturing है. Meta, which is Facebook आया है, which is very interesting. Facebook is one of the stocks that has been identified as producing a high level of number of companies, any growth in the past, high returns on investment, and very reasonable price to earnings ratio now compared to what it used to trade. UPS, United Parcel Services, logistics, Revolve Group, internet retail, AMD, semiconductors, Cooper companies, medical instruments, healthcare में. अच्छा, अब हम क्या करें? अब यहाँ से हम किधर जाएं? यहाँ पे मैं ऊपर की तरफ था. I was here, as you can see. I was at the screener, right? मैं इधर सारी चीज़ें कर रहा था. अब let's look at the one below. यहाँ पे रिजल्ट्स के और स्क्रीनर के बिल्कुल बीच में ये सारी चीज़ें आपको नज़र आ रही हैं. टैब्स, वैल्यूएशन, फाइनेंशियल, ओनरशिप, परफॉर्मेंस, टेक्निकल. So overview and then valuation. अच्छा, valuation में you can see कि we have a couple of things. We have obviously the PE, we have the forward PE, but what I'm really looking at, what am I looking at? Again, let's go back to the valuation checklist. I'm trying to look at is this able to grow its free cash flow or earnings, right? So what I'm looking at is EPS past 5 years. ये सबका positive है, 50% growth. West Fraser, Meta ने पिछले 5 सालों में 32% growth की है. Revolve, this internet retailing company, is actually 107%. AMD is actually 45%. Acha, what am I looking at? Another thing that I'd like to look at is it able to grow its sales as well with time? Because अगर ये sales grow कर रही है, that means fundamentally the business is doing something right to grow its volume, its business as well. Na? So again, one of the things that I look at is it able to sell more of what it does, right? And not just expand on its margins or anything like that. So sales में, I think what I can clearly see is that Meta में sales ऊपर गई हैं. AMD is one of them, which is on the higher end of the sales spectrum. Acha. Another thing that I want to look at is, which is actually quite important, is अगले 5 साल की जो growth है वो क्या targeted है? चूँकि I am looking at a long-term play. Next year की growth क्या targeted है? Next 5 years की growth क्या targeted है? You can see that next 5 years में ये West Fraser lumber timber जो है ये 29% grow करेगा. Lovesac company is going to grow 30%. AMD is 26%. So very interesting. So say AMD एक नज़र आ रहा है मुझे. It just feels like a very good candidate to start off with maybe. जो कि basically semiconductors में से काफ़ी मशहूर company है. A lot of traders actually trade this company for the short term as well. Past 5 years में 45% growth है. Sales growth past 5 years में 31% रही है. And next 5 years में 26% growth है. So good. This is a good starting point where I can start to look at, okay, can I actually look at this company? Price to earnings ratio is around 25 right now, but forward is 12. ये मैं कभी समझाऊंगा कि price to earnings, this is for the past 12 months, this is for the next 12 months. So next 12 months में चूँकि growth आएगी तो price to earnings ratio गिर जाता है, right? So let's see, let's try to pick this up for now, right? Let's try to pick this up. AMD को pick करते हैं. Let's go to roic.ai, which is another great website that I like to open. Press, put in AMD and look at advanced micro devices. अच्छा, advanced micro devices करती क्या है? Let's look at the company description. Advanced micro devices actually operates as a semiconductor company worldwide. The company operates in 2 segments: computing and graphics, and enterprise, embedded, and semi-custom. Its products include x86 microprocessors as an accelerated processing unit, chipsets, discrete and integrated graphics, GPUs, जो कि basically data center में इस्तेमाल होती हैं, as well as development services. Again, there's a lot of stuff that is going on here, a lot of technical stuff. But what I find really interesting here is that it serves original equipment manufacturers, public cloud service providers, original design manufacturers, system integrators, independent distributors, online retailers, and in-board manufacturers through its direct sales force, independent producers, and sales representatives. Acha, obviously, a big question I always have is this a business I understand to a large extent? Do I understand what the company actually does? Can I identify the company's growth story forward? इसका सबसे आसान तरीका ये है कि भाई मैं इसकी वेबसाइट पे चले जाऊँ, इसकी वेबसाइट कहीं ना कहीं होगी, वरना तो आई कैन ऑलवेज गो टू एडवांस्ड माइक्रो डिवाइसेस एंड बेसिकली गो टू इट्स वेबसाइट AMD. अब यहाँ पे आपको अच्छा खासी चीज़ें ना सोल्यूशंस में, प्रोडक्ट्स में समझ में आएगा कि वो कर क्या रहा है, products में, solutions में, and what can you do to actually better understand the company. Also, what we can do is go down to investors. अच्छा, इन्वेस्टर्स पे आपको ये 2022 एंड फाइनेंशियल एनालिस्ट डे Q2 फाइनेंशियल रिजल्ट्स समझ में आ जाएंगे. कॉर्पोरेट प्रेजेंटेशन इज़ वेरी नाइस. आई रियली लाइक दिस. हमेशा आपको ना एक अच्छी अंडरस्टैंडिंग मिलती है कि हम करने क्या जा रहे हैं. इसमें देखें, यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है हाई परफॉर्मेंस एंड अडैप्टिव कंप्यूटिंग, क्लाउड नेटवर्क, हाइपर स्केल सुपर कंप्यूटिंग, 5G एंड कॉम्स इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, AI, अडैप्टिव इंटेलिजेंस सिस्टम, ये जो सेल्फ ड्राइविंग कार्स हैं, गेमिंग, smarter client devices and edge, जो smart homes हैं, at the center of today's intelligent world. And so it tells you about all what it's doing. PC market कितनी बड़ी है, gaming market कितनी बड़ी है, and a lot of really nice stuff जो कि really gives you a good sense of what's going on. Also, what you can do is basically go and read their transcripts. So if I'm not wrong, आप ट्रांसक्रिप्ट्स यहाँ से एक्सेस कर सकते हैं. यस, सो आप ROIC पे ही जाएं और आप ट्रांसक्रिप्ट एक्सेस कर सकते हैं. यू कैन एक्चुअली लुक एट द लेटेस्ट ट्रांसक्रिप्ट फॉर द सेकंड क्वार्टर एंड गेट अ सेंस के कंपनी बेसिकली अपनी कंपनी को किस तरह, कंपनी की मैनेजमेंट अपनी कंपनी को किस तरह देखती है, इन द फ्यूचर क्या होल्ड करती है कंपनी, राइट. एंड आप ये देखें, द ब्यूटी इज यू कैन गो ऑल द वे डाउन टू 2009, 2006 तक भी आप जा सकते हैं एंड आप खोल कर देख सकते हैं कि भाई 2006 में कंपनी क्या कहती थी अपने विजन के बारे में, एंड ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम अब ये क्या कह रही है अपने विजन के बारे में. That gives you a lot of flavor about the company to understand the company better. Now, if you understand the company, let's go to the back to the summary and look at basically now the numbers. Revenue per share 2006 में 11.5 था, and now it's basically 15-16 on a trailing basis, right? Okay, now that we're actually done with the sort of understanding the company, at least I've pointed you out in the right direction. If you understand AMD, then we'll look at the numbers. Revenue per share, obviously, as I said, 11.5 था 2006 में, now 14 trailing 12 months 16 times. Earnings per share, loss making company थी, इसने basically it's gone to become a profitable company, now generating 2.5 or 2.7 in 2021 earnings per share. Free cash flow, something that I always look at. Is it positive free cash flow? Yes, it is. Growing its free cash flow now. 0.25, 0.66, 2.7. I'm loving this already. Acha. What else am I looking at? Acha, this is something that I kind of feel a bit scared about, because ये shares हैं. The number of shares have actually been going up, meaning कि equity dilution हो रही है shareholders की, which is not a good thing. अगर equity dilution हो रही है shareholders की as a result of the fundraising that they're doing, means कि आप दूसरे shareholders को अपना stake दे रहे हैं, which is not a good thing. But anyways, it's rest of the numbers look good. Operating margin, are they increasing or not? अपना company की margins increase कर रही है कि नहीं? Negative margins थी 4, 7, 9, 14, 22, brilliant. Generally, they've been able to expand their operating margins, right? Next, you come to the return on invested capital. Negative return on invested capital moved from 18% to 39% in 2021. Solid stuff. Again, I think very reasonable stuff. Overall, which I feel that helps you try to see operating margins grow कर रही है कि नहीं, free cash flow grow कर रहा है कि नहीं, return on invested capital grow कर रहा है कि नहीं. That gives you a very good sense and idea of what is basically what has this company been able to achieve, and hopefully as the consensus जो analyst estimates हैं कि the company will be able to grow from here as it states, So it seems like this could be a very good pick from one of those areas which we, one of those, basically one of those stocks which satisfy our valuation checklist. अब हम quickly इस पे आ जाते हैं. Let's look at the chart for this. So we'll do the technicals. अच्छा, इसमें मैंने कुछ levels already draw किए हुए थे. But one of the levels that I identified was कि this is the monthly going all the way back from 1979. इसमें एक लेवल डेफिनेटली आइडेंटिफाई किया हुआ है मैंने, वो ही है ये 46 का लेवल. तो डेफिनेटली इसने 2 बार टच किया है एंड देन अब ये वापस इस तरफ आ रही है. सो डू आई वांट टू परचेस दिस as at this very point in time? Maybe not. 48 is the channel. 48 is maybe the price that I'm looking at. Obviously, analyst estimates are obviously talking about probably higher price. Let's look at this quickly. So market watch pe, yeah, actually forget about this. Let's look at the screener itself. तो हम AMD में चले जाते हैं. Go back to Finviz. अच्छा, Finviz की अच्छी बात है कि आपको टेक्निकल्स भी, शॉर्ट टर्म टेक्निकल्स भी बताया था. फॉर एग्जांपल, इट्स इन अ डाउन ट्रेंड. देयर इज अ रेजिस्टेंस अराउंड द 100 लेवल. इट ब्रोक दैट रेजिस्टेंस बैक इन जून एंड इट्स ट्राइड टू गेट बैक इन ऑगस्ट, फेल्ड, went down. Analyst estimate इस वक्त है so Wells Fargo has an overweight at 90, 85. Truist has 107. इस वक्त उसने डाउनग्रेड कर दिया 70, still above the 50 level. Benchmark company ने 95. These are all October में अभी ये prices आई हैं. Stifel $100. Robert Baird is the only one with 65. Morgan Stanley 86. So pretty reasonable. I mean overall मुझे जो नज़र आ रहा है वो $70-80 तक तो at least analysts expect कर रहे हैं कि ये जाएगा. And it's right now currently trading at $60 levels. अगर आप इसको 90 तक ले लेते हैं तो that's all like 40-50% increase from current prices. Now, what would I look here for? Obviously, this is one level that I looked at monthlies में. 46-48 का level identify किया मैंने. फिर मैं weekly में चले आता हूँ. weekly में मुझे नज़र आ रहा है ये एक और लेवल मैंने ड्रॉ किया हुआ है. 2 और लेवल्स, और ये मैंने इस तरह ड्रॉ किए हैं कि मैंने फिब रिट्रेसमेंट टूल अपना ऑन किया एंड आई एक्चुअली लुक्ड एट दी स्विंग लो, लास्ट स्विंग लो टू द स्विंग हाई, एंड बेसिकली मैंने एक चार्ट क्रिएट करने की कोशिश की एंड सी वेयर द फिब रिट्रेसमेंट लेवल्स क्रिएट करने की कोशिश की. 78%, 61%, 50%. एंड ये मैं कभी बाद में एक्सप्लेन करूँगा कि ये हाउ डू आई एक्चुअली लुक एट द फिब इंडिकेटर्स. बट फॉर नाउ let's remove this. So all in all, एक चीज़ जो मुझे मीडियम टर्म शॉर्ट टर्म में नज़र आ रही थी वो एक नेगेटिव चैनल, डाउनवर्ड का चैनल है, which you can see started off at 165. आप सोचें 165 से नीचे कंपनी आ रही है all the way down to $60. It's broken this channel through, but all in all ये एक नेगेटिव चैनल है जो फॉलो करते हुए आ रही है. What I would say all in all, technically मुझे जो नज़र आ रहा है कि since it's broken even the 65 channel, 65 support, 65 की support भी तोड़ दी and it tried to make its way back. आप देख सकते हैं tried to break this but it couldn't. I think what I would look at now is actually a push towards the 47 level whereby I would think of buying it. And 47 से अगर ये ऊपर जाती है, obviously it swings back, then I'm looking at something somewhat of a gain. In the past, the companies actually traded at क्या कहते हैं price to earnings अगर देखते हैं, it's traded at 38, 31 times, 24 times. But if it actually makes the, मैंने बताया था ना, forward earnings is actually 12 times. और अगर ये वापस from 12 to 30 भी चली जाती है तो 12 to 30 का multiple almost double है, right? So there is a good chance that this company is able to क्या कहते हैं double its stock price, both on the fact of both on 2 levels. एक तो earnings growth 30% की होगी और फिर बाकी जो 40-50% आ रहा है वो है price to earnings multiple ऊपर जाएगा वापस, because of the fact कि company used to trade at 24, 25, 30 times. And now in the future, obviously, अगर price ऐसी इतनी कम रहती है तो it will trade at 12 times, given that it's able to sustain its growth levels. And how would you actually understand? You would actually read the transcripts. You would actually read the company presentation to understand that can it sustain the growth levels that it's actually saying. Now, I obviously don't have a position in the stock as of this very point in time, but interesting lag raha hai mujhe. This is the this is the first time today that I've actually opened Finviz and looked at this company a little bit more in detail. I'd probably need to do a bit more homework, but needless to say that if it can sustain the 40% return on invested capital moving forward, I think this would be a very, very good indicator of what is to come. मैंने पहले ही बताया था कि the long-term compounded rate of return of any company would be the same roughly as the return on invested capital. So basically 40% का मतलब है the rule of 72, which is कि 72 divided by, let's say, even 40% means after you will be able to double your money every 2 years, meaning 50 का you can expect 50 का अगर ये rate इसी rate पे चलती रही with its earnings growth and return on invested capital trajectory, you can expect 50 का 100, let's say, in 2 years time, and then 100 का 200 in 4 years time, क्योंकि ये compound इतनी तेजी से कर रही है. So obviously owning a stock at 50 and expecting it to go up to 200 in the next 4 years is actually not a bad rate of return in this business. And I obviously would look forward to looking at such returns or companies pulling off such returns. So once again, Finviz, you come to Finviz, you look at you go to the screener, you look at the screener, you screen by fundamentals, which is return on invested capital, return on investment, and you screen by EPS growth past 5 years. And then you obviously look at the technicals, which is if it has made a new 52-week low. अब obviously यहाँ पे AMD ने 52-week low लगाया है, and मैंने जैसे बताया कि I would really be looking at 48, which means that it will continue to post a new 52-week low in the next coming days, and essentially हो सकता है कि we might actually see it crossing in the next 1 week or so, or 2 weeks, maybe actually coming down to the 46 level, at which it becomes very, very interesting to actually look into this company to be buying. मेरे हिसाब से तो मुझे तो I would personally actually look at it. Obviously, again, to reiterate, this is not investment advice. I do not hold any stock, have any ownership in this company. This is just for education purposes, to actually demonstrate कि आप किस तरह screener को use कर how you can use the screener to actually generate some amazing ideas, and this screener will help you in different ways. You can slice and dice and play around with it, but keep it simple, keep it linked back to the checklist that I've actually mentioned, and you'll be fine. Focus on return invested capital, focus on increase in earnings and positive free cash flow, focus on expanding margins, and focus on hopefully cheap valuation multiples that you can buy it at relative to what the company trades at itself, or relative to what its peers trade at in the market. So I think that's pretty much it for this primer. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.